So, funny characters. As you know, I mentioned I had a false allegation put, spent a while but proved my innocence, was found not guilty in court, got everything won. The girl admitted she was a lying dirty cow, didn't you, Grace Ellis? And that she'd made everything up. That was her name, and I can legally say all this now. Cried, and does the things, but she made a false allegation. She's done it against 3 other men. But moving on from that, I'm going to talk about funny characters in prison. A few people said, like, what's funny stuff in there? So I have a lot of funny stories actually during the time I was on remand. I'm going to speak about a certain guy, and his name was like Alan or something. He was a character because he was so funny. He was really old, and he was a lifer, so he's in for the rest of his life. He's never going to get out of prison. He committed quite a few murders and stuff, but he was an old man. He was fragile now, and but a lifer is dangerous. You get all these kids going, oh, I'm big boys and that, like, you've probably seen on my post, like some people bragging about being in prison. These are losers. If you're consistently in prison, you're missing out on your life, you're letting down your family and letting down yourself. End of. But this guy here, he was and the reason he was dangerous is a lifer is dangerous because it can be 70, they can be 80, but they're in for the rest of their life. So they can come up to you. You've got to think, you're 25, 26. I don't care if you're an MMA fighter. I don't care if you're a bare knuckle fighter and how tough you are. If you know you've got 2 months left on your sentence, it's some of shit. You're looking forward to seeing your girlfriend, your family, your kids, and you're getting out, your mum, whatever. This guy's going to go up to you in the queue and he's going to go and blade you from behind. He's going to follow your shadow, and it means nothing to him because what's he going to get? In the hole for a bit? That's it. So these are the most dangerous people. But this guy was nuts. And why he was such a funny character was he would start over nothing, and he used to put himself in really vulnerable positions, and I don't know if he just like was bored or like to cause trouble, but he'd do some really funny stuff. So, like, one of the stories was he was pressing his buzzer, so the screw went. She was a new screw and she's female, good looking girl, and when she opened his flap he just stood there naked going, you right, like that, tossing one off at her. And he goes, oh, he ejaculated as she came to the door, and he goes, oh, I've been saving that one in for you. So that was a funny story. And then one of the girls, they wrapped him up, so he got taken in by the security, blah, 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 thrown in, all this crap. And he told her he'd wrote her an apology, and he bought, she get him in the canteen, a little card, like a little Valentine's card, and instead of writing a Valentine's card, he just wrote in depth. I mean, he filled the card, both sides, about how he was going to get her and how he was going to rape her and kill her. And he posted it through the flap under his cell. So when she went past, she had to read this right detailed thing of what he was going to do to her. And then eventually he got taken off the normal wings, and he got himself put onto the protective wing. And the way he did this was funny because he wasn't a sex offender. He was a murderer, but he wasn't a sex offender. And what he did, even the screw told me this, like, she goes, he's just crazy. And he literally just goes on the landing, he goes, I'm a paedophile. I go with kids. I enjoy kids. He just started on it, but he isn't one. And he just denied it. So everyone's looking at him, and he just went right detail about it, but he isn't one. So everyone's like, oh, and he goes to school, he goes, yeah, you're going to have to transfer. So they had to transfer him, and eventually transfer him in prisons. And he was just a fucking lunatic. And there was another story, like, he got told off, so when it was shower time, he went to the showers and he had a shit, turned on the hot water. He did loads of shit like that. It was funny because he was so over the top, and you were kind of like, what's he going to do today? But the stuff he did, like, was really weird. So, like, there's loads of Asians around once. And this is a fragile white man. He goes between them all and goes, I don't like Asians. And he just goes like that, I don't like Asians. I've been racist. And he's going to get fucking murdered. And the screws were like dragging him back to his cell. And he'd do it to black people, and he'd do it to whites. He'd be like, yeah, I'm part of the IRA, blah, blah, I'm going to blow you up. And he'd say all these offensive words. So he was funny as fuck. But he was just like a weird character. And then we had another guy. I'll do a separate video on. He used to always be in the bins every day looking for food, and he'd be like, sucky for a vape, and you're like, wow, you know. So there's some funny characters in there.